So it is something that I want to have my children acknowledge, but I still haven't figured out the right way to have a conversation with them. They'd be like, hey, this kid behind you actually was killed by the government of the country I'm saying you should be proud of.
Tell me about the Persian Parade. It's taking place this Sunday in New York. It starts at Madison Avenue at 39th Street. So if you're listening to us in New York right now, here's your opportunity to be part of this. It's 11:30 a.m. It starts on Sunday. You took part last year. You were on this iconic Nowruz float. What can you tell us about this parade?
It's interesting. The parade is just like this really like amazing like cultural moment for Iranians. You know, you have that conversation about where are all the Iranians. It's like show up on this day, show up Saturday, and you'll see where all the Iranians are. It's like where do all these people come from? Where do they live? Like, you know, it's like wild. It's like for one day Manhattan becomes like, you know, not Tarangeles, like Terra York. I don't know. That's not cute, but whatever. You know, it's like it's really wild because like where does everyone come from? It's like it's amazing. Last year I had the privilege of opening the parade on the float with my family for the first float out, and that was like really exciting. I was nervous because I have like these little small children like hanging on and waving these flags in the float. This year's going to be different because first of all I want to thank them for inviting me back. It's going to be, you know, woman life freedom is a theme. So some people might call it a protest, but it's not going to be the protests that we've seen. It's going to be a parade with a meaningful sentiment towards woman life freedom. And I'm going to be on the Khuzestan float, you know, to honor Kian. And I think it's going to be powerful just having his picture there, you know, being a no, a 10-year-old kid and having my daughter, I said that because my daughter's 7, my daughter there who's 7, my 4-year-old and my 1-year-old on that float, just to
Mm.
show again that privilege we're talking about. Because I always say this, I'm like, you know, I when I see all these tragedies are happening around, like it could be us. So just to have my kids there, you know, on that float, that is going to be a really powerful image. And I'm just really honored to be able to be a part of this, you know, also because like, you know, they have like, we have a lot of like Iranian celebrities in this world and like, you know, Shadam Shapar is going to be there and like people like that. But for them to also recognize a queer person like me who doesn't really have like the machine behind me, who's kind of doing my own thing, it really just, that really shows how inclusive they are with this parade. And I think that's really wonderful.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's an honor. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be beautiful to look at, but it's going to be meaningful. And I think some of the most meaningful ways we can protest as people is through art, through music, through, you know, performance. So I'm really just I'm excited.
Nicole Ansari is going to be there. Shali Zomardi is going to be there. Shahram Shapar, as you say. I love that you're going to be on the Khuzestan float, which is close to my heart. Um, it's interesting that you're bringing your kids. Perhaps as a final question, tell me about that. Tell me about how your kids are processing this moment of being Iranian as kids who've grown up in America, who would have every reason to feel a detachment from being Iranian, and what they know of this uprising and what's been happening.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could lie to you and be like, yeah, I've had this amazing, like, thoughtful, like, you know, conversation with people and parents, and I was able to really break this to my children. I haven't had that conversation with them yet. They're still very small. You know, they recently are understanding the concept of even just death. So it is something that I want to have my children acknowledge, but I still haven't figured out the right way to have a conversation with them. They'd be like, hey, this kid behind you actually was killed by the government of the country I'm saying you should be proud of. I don't know how to have that conversation with
Hmm.
adults, let alone my child. You know, it's I wish it was that easy. I wish it could be as easy as saying, hey, you know, the 2 dogs we had this year passed away. You know, I haven't figured that out. And I
Do they see themselves as Persian? Do they
yeah,
know
they
that
do.
they're
Oh, very
about
much
their
so.
Iranian
Like,
background?
especially in the lives, my daughter will come and say salam. You know, they're trying to learn Farsi. You know, they watch little like instructional videos on YouTube to learn Farsi. We do a Nowruz spread every year. We do the Hafsin, we do Yalda. I mean, I'm doing more Persian stuff than my Iranian mother did with me growing up. You know, I'm also the PTO president for my kids' school. Shout out to LCCS. But yeah, right, good taste. But there's actually a new Persian teacher there, and it was so exciting because the other day she got to meet Zara, and like she just gave Zara such a big hug, and Zara was like, "Salam." You know, this is the first time she was interacting with like another Persian like teacher like in her school. And I really try being an Iranian American, especially since my partner, she's not Iranian, to make them
Hmm.
proud and aware of what they are, because there is so much whitewashing in my life. We speak English at home. So I don't want to take away this opportunity for them to be a part of history in the making, but it's still a balancing act. How do I find a way to introduce the harsh realities of the culture that I'm just trying to get them to put their feet into as a swimming pool? So yeah, I haven't figured that out yet, Jian John. And hopefully I will. But as of now, if she may ask me who this kid is when she's on the float, and I don't know how I'm going to answer that question. I don't lie to my children, but I also am mindful of the fact that they are children. So, yeah, I'm figuring it out.